That's Angelia by Richard Marx, which came out in the 80s. So I'll let that play in the background, and I've got a very funny story to tell you. I'm trying to cover this up because some of you know where I work. All right, so here's the story. Great first night. It was very exciting. So, I went out to get my car today. Couldn't find it. So guess what? I couldn't figure out why it disappeared. And then I realized the last time I drove it was when I went to church on Sunday. I had such a long day on Sunday. Typically, I will drive to church. There is a place to park out front. You can park out front of the church on Sundays with no issues. Well, I had a big day on Sunday, and I failed to make a note to go back and get the car. Anyway, I went to get the car today, and I thought I would just have a ticket, and I thought, well, I guess lesson learned. I read a big fat sign that said, street cleaning, 1st, 3rd, and 5th weeks of the month, if there is a 5th week. So it's the 3rd week. So I said, okay, fine. Well, let's just go. So let me tell you about the first time I was towed here. I'm telling you, I'm going to go into comedy. I'm going to write a book, because here's the thing. The people I have dealt with have been fantastic. Everybody in Boston has been great. I have not had one bad experience, not one. Not one. And those that have come close, they've ended up turning around, and we've been great. Okay, so here, all right, let me back up before that. I got a few tickets because the first one was at the place I stayed at in Revere, and I was supposed to be able to park there overnight. Well, guess what? They decided to only let the owners park there, and I wasn't registered as an owner, and so the lady I was renting the Airbnb from actually called the city and said, well, you know, she's renting. So I got a pass on that one, and then I went to the city of Revere, and the sign, I'm telling you, there are like 4 or 5 signs piled on top of each other, and it was like, you can park here except then, and you can't park there except here. And there are all these exceptions, and I got confused. And I was going to the beach for 30 minutes. Well, I came back, and guess what? All right, so that one got exonerated, but not after a trip into downtown Boston, which I thought that I could just go to Revere, but no. I had to go all the way into downtown Boston. And what was so funny about this thing, it got resolved immediately. And then I got a letter in the mail to confirm that it got resolved. And then, over 2 months later, I got yet another letter saying that issue was resolved. All right, so the first time I got towed, I have very cheap parking compared to people who have to pay parking. When I tell people what I pay for parking, their eyes pop. They're like, we pay 2 and 3 times that much. I said, I know. I'm very fortunate. I really am very fortunate. The place I got it's very inexpensive. Anyway, and it's just the right size for me. All right. So I had so much after I moved here. I made a note for everything I did. And I remembered a lot of things. And one night I come back and the car's not there. And I thought, well, where did my car go? And then I had this very bad feeling. And I looked in my purse, and there was the parking sticker I forgot to put on my car. So I find out that I need to call Roberts Towing in Alston, and there is no public transportation there, and it's a good 45 to 50 minute walk. And I think I had been towed back in grad school, and I don't remember the rules. So guess what? I guess the price goes up for every hour you're there. $1 or $2. I don't know. Okay, that guy just made a right. He went around. Okay, he came up on my left and then he made a right in front of me. Very Boston move. I haven't seen that one in a long time. They did that a lot when I lived here before, but that was the first time since January. All right. By the way, people are very safe on the road with cyclists. It's a very safe city to cycle in. Okay. So I decide I'm going to walk. And it's starting to get dark. And I asked him, I said, be honest with you, you sound like Ferris Bueller's sister. You know, when she called the police. I'm alone in this house and I'm very cute. So I asked him, is this a safe place for me to walk? For a woman to walk if the sun goes down on me? And they said, yes, it is. But don't stay too long after sunset. Get here as quick as you can. So that Roberta Flack song went through my head. Get here if you can. Okay, so on my way there, somebody stops me and says, do you live around here? I said no. One of my mother's theories is when you ask someone for directions or they ask you for directions, the person who's being asked the directions doesn't live in the area. So they're looking for Harvard Street. And I said, well, as a matter of fact, I actually know where that is because I just walked up it to get here. So I was able to tell them. I said, can you look it up on your GPS? And she said, well, it broke. And my phone is broken. The phone part's broken. I can't call the people who I'm going to see. All right. So then I make it to Robert's Towing, which is now called Mike's Towing, I think. I don't remember who I talked to, but he was so nice. I told him I'd remember his name, but I didn't. Anyway, he was so nice, and there was my little Texas car. Okay. So then, tonight, to this afternoon, when I realized my car was gone, and went to the church, and I had to start this job tonight, and there was no way I could get the car. So I called them, and they said, okay, the price goes up, but it's not very much every hour. It was like 50 cents or something. It wasn't bad at all. However, in the morning it goes up another $75. So I said, nobody's going to find out about this. I'm just going to go get the car. So, okay, I'm trying to park safely. I'm gonna get there. I don't know what happened to the radio. All right. So I walk from the workplace. So if you see the picture for Clue 1.5, very cool place. A wonderful experience tonight. I cannot wait for I just can't wait for this. Okay. A great experience with everybody I worked with. Anyway, this is my evening job, and then the other is my daytime job. Okay. I am so hungry, and for a while I couldn't eat processed foods, sugar, a lot of stuff. Now I can eat everything. I have no problem. I get great sleep every night. All right. Okay, so I said, I'm gonna go get me a slice of pizza. Well, Sal's pizza place was closed. So I go around the corner and there's a 7-Eleven. And I look for the cheapest Uber, and the cheapest one was $35 to get to this place. I said, okay, fine. Lesson learned. You'll never do this again. And make a note anytime you park somewhere that you might think you might forget. So I go into the 7-Eleven, have to stand in line, and I get my pizza, and I thought the guy said $4.02, and I give him a $5. He says, I'll take care of the 2 cents. But he gives me $3 back. I go to give him $2. I said, did you say $4.02? He said, no, $2. I said, really? He said, but do you have 2 cents? I said, no. I had no change. He said, it's okay. I couldn't believe it. It was excellent. So I'm standing there waiting for the Uber driver, and I realize I have 2 minutes left, and I'm thinking, I'm going to go get another slice. I am so hungry. So I debated. I go back, and I notice there's a little line, and I open the door, and then this group comes in. One guy holds the door open, and a girl in a black leather jacket with, why can't I think of it? The rivets, forget. Anyway, the embellishments walks by. And I said, I'm just debating. I'm so hungry. I want another piece of pizza, but I got to go get my Uber. So I go wait, and now it's 2 minutes. So I thought, okay, I've got time. Now I go, and there's this big long line, but I notice the woman with the rivets is standing. She's the next person in line. So I walk up and I said, if I give you some money, if I give you $2, can you get me that slice of pizza? She said, I almost got you one. So she saw what I was wearing, and this is going to be a clue for you. Even if you don't know the place, you'll figure out what the industry is. And it's one that I did work in before, and one of the main reasons I came back here. So she noticed my shirt, and I said, we had opening night. You've got to go. This is a great, okay, now that was another clue. Anyway, so then here's another clue. This is what she said. She says, are you here for the Bad Bunny concert? And I said, no. And I said, why? She said, well, we're the roadies for Bad Bunny. We're here setting up at Fenway for Bad Bunny. I said, well, it sounds like a great concert. And they were so friendly. I love roadies. And the ones I worked with in Folk Tree were excellent. Anyway, so I ran out, and this black car pulled up, and there still was a little time left. And I thought, well, that's interesting. It said Uber. And I go to get in the back of the car, and the guy rolls down the window, and he's looking at me. I said, are you here to pick me up? He said, no, I'm Uber Eats. I said, well, that's funny because I am very hungry. I take that back. This was right before I went in to the 7-Eleven the second time. Okay, now I remember the sequence, because that's what made it so funny. Then I went and got my pizza. Okay, now we got the sequence right. So I am waiting, and my Uber driver is a woman from China, and all of the Uber, the directions, everything was in Chinese. She had Chinese radio playing. I thought, well, that's kind of neat. I could move to China or wherever, France, and I could do everything in English. So I said, excuse me, I said, are you from China? She, when I was eating my pizza, she reached over and handed me a napkin. I said, thank you. I said, they did not have napkins in there. She was so polite. I know she didn't want stuff on her seat, but she was so sweet. And I said, thank you very much. Are you from China? She said, yes. I said, oh, Shay Shay is all I know. She goes, you're welcome. So I sat quietly, and all of a sudden we were there, and my ride was $10. I walk in, and there's a guy. I know a guy, and he has his hood on, and he takes it off. I said, so what's your name? He said, Doug. And he saw my t-shirt. I said, have you been here, or do you know about this? He said, no. I said, okay, you got to go. It's a great place. Lots of great things are going to happen. So we started talking about concerts. Okay, that's another clue. And he had taken his mother to see Earth, Wind, and Fire. And I was trying to remember the song, September by Earth, Wind, and Fire. I almost sang it to him, but I thought I'd spare him. So we got to talking, and I told him I told him I was from Texas, and that I'd gotten towed this other time about the pizza and the Uber and Bad Bunny. And I'm telling you, he leaned his head back and laughed. I said, I'm going to write a book. I don't think I'm going to write a story in my life. I think I'm going to do some essays, because those are going to be a lot funner. Just stories will be really good. And I said, no, and you're going in there. He said, I can't wait to read it. Well, then I walked out, and there was a guy sitting at the back smoking a cigarette. And I said, hey, how are you doing? He goes, great. How are you? I said, I am terrific. Now it's almost midnight before I'm getting this car. And so I said, I can't find my car. Well, it was right there. And I told them that I was working VIP. They said, well, since you're VIP, we had the car right up front for you. And I walked in, I'm thinking, there's a little souvenir of my windshield. Ta-da! Now this one, okay, y'all are gonna figure it out. Okay. First one to call me, you're gonna get a gift certificate, and I'll give it to you from my other place because you'll really enjoy what they're anyway. So this one isn't so bad, as bad as I thought. But no more for me. I'm very cognizant of where I park and the times and all of that stuff. And if I have to park somewhere, now I'll be making a note. But now what I'll be doing after I sell my car, I'm taking zip cars, which we have 4 or 5 in the parking lot. Or, in fact, my boss does zip cars. They don't even have a car, he and his wife. And they rent a car if they're going to do a car for the whole day. So that's much more cost effective. It'll save me a good, I don't know, a lot of money. So that's it. Thank you so much for joining me. And I thought about calling a whole segment of mine, no problem. That is no problem, man. Everything is relative. If you have certain things to compare it to, you can say that is no problem, man. Peace be the journey. So peace be the journey, and thank you for stopping by Coffee and Good Stuff. And we'll put a comma here.